stepped into my apartment and knew something was wrong. Then I saw it. Every gift I had ever given my husband stacked neatly by the door. On top, a single note. Consider these my parting gifts. Then I checked my phone. And my stomach dropped. I never imagined I'd be sharing this, but here I am. My name's Sarah, and I've been married to Daniel for 10 years. We live in a cozy apartment in Chicago, not far from Lake Michigan. Our life together seemed picture perfect until that day. It was a chilly Friday evening in March. I had just finished a grueling week at the marketing firm where I work. All I wanted was to kick off my heels, pour a glass of wine, and unwind with Daniel. But as I stepped into our apartment, a strange feeling washed over me. Something was off. The living room was eerily silent, save for the faint hum of the refrigerator. The usual scent of Daniel's cologne was absent. Then I saw it. Every gift I had ever given Daniel stacked neatly by the door. On top, a single note. Consider these my parting gifts. My heart pounded in my chest. I dropped my bag and rushed to the bedroom. His closet was half empty, his favorite clothes were gone. The bathroom counter, once cluttered with his toiletries, was bare. Panic set in as I fumbled for my phone. Unlocking it, I noticed several missed calls and unread messages. The most recent was from Daniel. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I can't do this anymore." My stomach dropped. I felt like the floor had been yanked out from under me. I sank onto the couch, trying to make sense of it all. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing that hinted at this. Tears blurred my vision as I scrolled through our last conversations, searching for clues. Then, a notification popped up, a message from an unknown number. Hesitant, I opened it. "I thought you should know the truth about Daniel," it read, followed by a link. Against my better judgment, I clicked on it. The link led to a private message thread on a social media platform. As I read through the messages, my world shattered. Daniel had been having an affair with a woman named Olivia. The messages detailed their rendezvous, plans for the future, and worst of all, their disdain for me. I felt nauseous. The betrayal cut deep, not just because of the affair, but because Olivia was someone I considered a friend. We had worked together on several projects, and I had even invited her into our home. Memories flooded back, times when Daniel was working late, the sudden interest in his appearance, the guarded phone. All the signs were there, but I had dismissed them, trusting him implicitly. Determined to confront them, I called Daniel. Straight to voicemail. I tried Olivia next. She answered on the second ring. "Sarah," she said, her voice laced with feigned concern. "Don't," I snapped. "I know everything." A pause. Then a sigh. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way." "How long?" I demanded. "About a year," she admitted. A year. 12 months of lies and deception. I couldn't breathe. I hung up, feeling a mix of rage and despair. I needed answers from Daniel, but he remained unreachable. Days passed, turning into weeks. Friends and family reached out, offering support, but I felt isolated, trapped in a whirlwind of emotions. One evening, as I was drowning my sorrows in a bottle of wine, my phone rang. It was Daniel. My heart raced as I answered. "Sarah," he began, his voice weary. "I'm so sorry." "Sorry?" I spat. "You destroyed our marriage, Daniel. You betrayed me with someone I trusted." "I know," he said softly. "I messed up. I was unhappy and handled it the wrong way." "Unhappy?" I echoed. "And you thought cheating was the solution?" He sighed. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted to explain." He went on about feeling trapped, unfulfilled, and how Olivia made him feel alive again. It was all about his feelings, his needs. Not once did he consider the damage he inflicted on me. After that call, I knew I couldn't stay in the apartment filled with memories of us. I packed my things and moved in with my sister for a while. The divorce proceedings were painful, but I knew it was the only way forward. Months later, I heard through mutual friends that Daniel and Olivia's relationship had fizzled out. Apparently, the grass wasn't greener on the other side. It gave me a small sense of vindication, but it didn't erase the pain. Healing was a slow process. Therapy helped, as did leaning on friends and family. I focused on my career, picked up new hobbies, and even traveled, a solo trip to Italy that reminded me of my strength and independence. Looking back, I realized that Daniel's betrayal was a reflection of his own shortcomings, not mine. I deserved honesty, respect, and love. While the scars remain, they've become a testament to my resilience. To anyone going through something similar, know this. The pain feels unbearable now, but with time, support, and self-care, you will emerge stronger. Trust in yourself and the journey ahead. A few weeks after that call with Daniel, things started to settle, or at least I thought they were. I was still living with my sister, Carla, in her townhouse in Evanston. Carla was trying her best to keep me distracted. Movie nights, long walks, random coffee runs to our old favorite spots in Rogers Park. But my mind never really stopped spinning. Then, one morning, I got an email. No subject line. Just an attachment. It was a video. I hesitated before opening it. Something told me it wasn't good, but curiosity got the better of me. It was a screen recording of a security camera feed. It took me a few seconds to understand what I was looking at. Then I realized it was the lobby of my old apartment building. There was Daniel. And Olivia. But it wasn't just the two of them. A third person entered the frame. My heart skipped. It was another woman. She walked right up to Daniel, slapped him, and started shouting. There was no audio, but her body language was clear. Furious. Betrayed. I replayed the video. Watched every second like it would somehow reveal more. I didn't recognize the woman. She was maybe in her late 20s, blonde hair, sharp features, tall. She was wearing hospital scrubs. The timestamp was only 3 days after Daniel left me. I forwarded the video to Carla, who replied, "WTF? Who is she?" I had no idea. That night, I barely slept. I couldn't get the image of the woman out of my mind. Something told me Daniel's affair with Olivia wasn't the only secret he had been keeping. The next morning, I drove to the apartment. I still had access to the building through the app. I told the front desk I had left something behind and needed to pick it up. The concierge, Jerome, who always liked me more than Daniel, gave me a sympathetic look but didn't ask questions. I took the elevator to our old floor. The door to our apartment was locked. Obviously. But then I heard voices coming from down the hall. One of them was Daniel's. I froze. I wasn't ready to face him again. Not like this. I turned to leave, but then I heard something else, a child crying. I stopped. A child? I waited a few seconds, then peeked around the corner. Daniel's door opened, and out came Olivia, holding a little boy in her arms. No more than 2 years old. He was crying and clinging to her. She looked exhausted. Daniel followed, trying to soothe the kid. My stomach twisted. That child wasn't just any child. He looked just like Daniel. I stumbled back, accidentally bumping into the wall. The noise made Olivia turn. Our eyes locked. Her face drained of color. I didn't wait. I turned and rushed back to the elevator, heart pounding like a war drum. I got in my car, drove around the block 3 times before pulling over and finally letting myself cry. He had a child. A whole child. I had spent 10 years building a life with Daniel. We had talked about kids, tried for years with no success. I went through fertility tests, medications. I blamed myself every single day. I thought I was the reason we didn't have a family. And all this time, he had one. With her. Back at Carla's, I told her everything. She was livid. She wanted to confront Daniel herself, but I told her no. Not yet. I needed more answers. I needed to know how long this had been going on. If that boy was really his. If he had planned to start a whole new life while I was left thinking I was the broken one. I reached out to Olivia. I didn't scream or threaten. I just sent a short message, "We need to talk. Just you and me." To my surprise, she replied, "Fine. Tomorrow. Noon. Cafe Armitage. Don't bring anyone." The next day, I walked into the cafe 5 minutes early. She was already there, sitting in the back, sunglasses on, hair tied up. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. I sat down. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "You weren't supposed to find out." I left. I couldn't help it. "So you were just going to keep me in the dark forever?" She didn't answer. "Is the boy Daniel's?" She nodded. "Does he know?" She looked me straight in the eyes. "Of course he knows. He's known since before he left you." My hands curled into fists under the table. "And when exactly did you two start sleeping together?" There was a pause. "Then, 3 years ago." I almost got up and walked out. 3 years. He had been cheating for 3 of the 10 years we were married. That meant he started while we were still trying to conceive. I asked her the one question I had been scared to say out loud. Did he ever plan to tell me? She shook her head slowly. No. He was going to disappear. Start over with me and the baby. He said you'd be fine. That you were strong. Something in me snapped. This wasn't just an affair. This was a full-on betrayal of the worst kind. He had robbed me of truth, of choices, of time I could never get back. And now he was out there, playing house with someone else and pretending none of it mattered. But I wasn't going to let it end like this. Not without the truth being known. Not without some justice. I looked at Olivia and said, "Tell him I know everything. And this time, I'm not staying silent." Olivia didn't respond to that. She just looked down at her coffee, silent, like the weight of everything had finally started sinking into her too. I stood up and left. I didn't want anything else from her. I wanted the truth, and I got it more than I was ready for. I wasn't just grieving a marriage anymore. I was grieving years of my life that I now knew had been a lie. But the real twist came 3 days later. I was at Carla's place, pacing around the kitchen when the doorbell rang. I figured it was a package or maybe the neighbor needing something again. Carla answered it, and then I heard her say, "You've got some nerve." I turned the corner and saw Daniel standing in the doorway. He looked like hell. Dark circles under his eyes, hair a mess, jacket half-zipped. But I didn't care. "I just want to talk," he said, barely looking at me. "Too late for that," I snapped. "I mean it," he said. "I know I don't deserve it, but I need to explain. There are things Olivia didn't tell you." I almost laughed. "Like what? That you've got a kid? That you cheated for years? That you were going to ghost me out of my own marriage?" "No," he said quietly. "There's more." I crossed my arms. "Then say it. Because I'm out of patience." Daniel stepped inside and Carla made it clear she wasn't going far. He stood in the middle of the living room like a man on trial. Which, honestly, he was. He took a breath. "I didn't leave just for Olivia. I left because I was being blackmailed." I blinked. "What?" He nodded. "I don't know who they are. But about 6 months before I left you, I started getting emails, photos, videos of me and Olivia. They said if I didn't pay them and disappear from your life, they'd send everything to your job, your family. They even knew where your mom lived." I stared at him, confused, furious. "You're telling me someone threatened you into leaving me?" "Yes, and I know how that sounds. But I swear, it's true." I didn't know what to believe anymore. Every time I thought I had the full story, another crack split open. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you go to the police?" "They said they'd hurt you," he said, voice cracking. "They knew too much. About your schedule, about your work." I didn't want to risk it. I thought leaving you would protect you. It was the first time I saw him look genuinely scared. Not like a man who got caught cheating, but like someone who was actually being hunted. I sat down, not because I believed him, but because I needed to think. Carla stepped in, arms crossed. "So let me get this straight. You cheated, had a baby, planned to leave Sarah, and also got blackmailed." "Yes," he said. "I know how it sounds. I've made terrible choices. But this part, this isn't about Olivia. Someone else is involved. And they're still watching." Carla scoffed. "Convenient." But then Daniel reached into his coat and pulled out a printed photo. It was me, taken through the window of Carla's townhouse. I was in my robe, holding a mug, looking out at the street. "I don't even remember when it could have been taken. This was sent to me last night," he said. "That's when I realized we were being watched." Still, now, not only had I lost my marriage and my trust in someone I loved, but I might be in danger too. Daniel wasn't just a cheating husband anymore. He might have brought something much darker into my life. And I wasn't sure I was ready for what I'd find if I kept digging. Daniel's confession about being blackmailed didn't sit right with me. Part of me wanted to believe he was just throwing smoke to dodge the shame of what he'd done. But that photo, me in my robe, through Carla's window, was real. And it scared the hell out of me. Carla was freaked out too. She immediately checked all the windows, made sure the curtains were drawn, and started going over the footage on her Ring camera. Daniel sat there like he didn't know what to do. For a moment, he wasn't the man who wrecked our marriage, he was just scared. But I didn't have space to feel sorry for him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I told him he needed to leave. I wasn't ready to process anything with him sitting 10 feet away. I needed to think, to feel without him muddying the water. He left. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed replaying every moment of the past 3 years. I thought of the fertility appointments, the anniversary dinners, the random Thursday nights I made lasagna while he was working late. I thought about the miscarriage I had a year before he left, a baby we both cried over, or so I thought. Now I wondered if he had been crying for guilt, not grief. By morning, Carla's camera had picked up something. A figure, standing across the street from the townhouse at around 2 a.m. Just standing. Not moving. The quality wasn't good enough to see their face, but they were wearing a dark hoodie and jeans. The person stood there for almost 10 minutes before walking off. I called the police. I gave them the photo and the footage. They said they'd look into it, but it felt like one of those cases that would fall through the cracks. Still, it was enough for me to finally confront Daniel one last time. We agreed to meet at a neutral place, Grant Park, during the day in public. I wasn't taking chances. He showed up looking just as tired as before. We sat on a bench near the fountain. I talked to the police, I told him. He nodded. "I figured you would. I need to know everything. Right now. No more lies. No more protecting me. Just the truth." Daniel looked at me and sighed like the weight of every lie he had ever told was sitting on his chest. "It wasn't just Olivia," he said. "There were others. Not relationships, just hookups. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. I was miserable, and instead of fixing things or talking to you, I ran. Over and over. I didn't say anything. And one of them, she was different. She got obsessed. Started showing up at my office, messaging Olivia, sending weird threats. I cut her off, but she found out about you. Said if I didn't end things with you, she'd destroy your life. I didn't think she'd actually do anything, but then the photo started. My stomach dropped. What's her name? He hesitated. Clara. Clara Benson. We met at a conference in Minneapolis. Clara Benson. That name punched me in the gut. 2 years ago, Daniel dragged me to that stupid conference in Minneapolis. We stayed at a hotel downtown. I remembered her now, tall, blonde, worked in pharmaceuticals. She spent a lot of time around Daniel, too friendly. I even asked about her once. He said she was just a client rep. She's the mother of your child? No, he said. That's Olivia. Clara was something else. I stood up. I was shaking, but I didn't know if it was from rage or fear or the pure insanity of all of it. So let me get this straight. You cheated on me. Multiple times. You got someone else pregnant. You had a stalker. And now you're telling me she's the one who's been watching me? Daniel stood up too. I don't know for sure, but it started after I cut Clara off. It fits. Just then, someone shouted behind us. Daniel. We both turned. Clara was walking toward us fast. Red lipstick, tight black coat, and those same dead eyes I remembered. I didn't even know how she found us. Daniel froze. I told you not to talk to her, Clara said, her voice calm but icy. You broke the deal. What deal? I said. Clara looked at me. The one where he leaves you and starts fresh. I gave him everything. He owed me. You're insane, I said. She smiled, like that was a compliment. Then she pulled out her phone and held it up. Want to see the rest of the pictures? I have hundreds. Every day since you moved in with your sister. Daniel stepped between us. Clara, stop. Why? She said, tilting her head. You broke your promises. She was supposed to be gone. Security guards nearby started walking toward us. Clara noticed and slowly backed up. You'll regret this, she said, her voice low. Both of you. Then she turned and walked off before anyone could stop her. The police picked her up the next day. Turns out she had cameras hidden in a tree near Carla's place. Her laptop was full of photos, notes, weird diary entries about me and Daniel. She was completely unhinged. When the cops searched her apartment, they found a detailed plan of what she was going to do next. Kidnap threats. A burner phone. My address, my workplace, even my mom's retirement home. Everything. They pressed charges. Clara was taken in for a psychiatric evaluation. Daniel cooperated with the investigation, which helped, but he still had to face the fallout. His job fired him. Olivia left him. His family basically disowned him. And me? I filed for the divorce, finally. I didn't do it out of rage or revenge. I did it because I knew there was no way back. Daniel apologized 1,000 times, cried, begged, tried to tell me he still loved me. But it didn't matter anymore. He had destroyed the version of us I once loved. The weeks after were quiet, strangely peaceful. No more phone calls in the middle of the night. No more looking over my shoulder. No more questions without answers. Carla and I rebuilt our routine. I went back to work. Started running again. I took a solo trip to the Pacific Northwest, stood on a cliff in Oregon, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Light. Free. Sometimes I still think about Daniel. About what we could have been. But mostly, I think about the woman I became after him. Stronger. Sharper. A little more guarded, but finally honest with myself. I don't know if I believe in forever love anymore. But I believe in survival. In healing. In knowing your worth even when someone tries to tear it down.
الغنوة اللي جاية دي حضراتكم هقولوها معايا يعني انتوا رغبتكم بس انتوا اول ما هتسمعوها هتعرفوا انما انا عايز اقول لكم هي كلمات مين هي كلمات الدكتور مدحت العدل والحان خالد حماد وتوزيعه برضه هنغنيها اول ما تسمعوا الدخول هتغنوا معانا على طول